Welcome. My talk today is entitled, Real-Time Monitoring of Urinary Stone Status During Shockwave Lithotripsy.
So many big words. Can you break it down for me?
Sure. Urinary stones cause severe pain by obstructing the flow of urine, leading to swelling, inflammation, and intense discomfort in the urinary tract. Shockwave lithotripsy is a method used to fragment urinary stones into small pieces so that they can naturally pass out of the body. Does that make sense?
I am still confused. Why monitor urinary stones? Why is real-time monitoring needed?
We need to monitor the stone during shockwave lithotripsy to ensure it is adequately fragmented for safe passage out of the body while also avoiding overshocking the patient, which could damage surrounding tissues and lead to treatment complications. Real-time monitoring is essential to notify the operator of key treatment milestones, such as when to continue shockwave treatment and when to stop. Does this address your questions?
Got it. Why should I be interested in urinary stones?
Let me summarize. Urinary stones cause severe pain. Shockwaves fragment urinary stones. Monitoring the fragmentation is challenging as stone fragments blend into the background in X-ray images. Hence, how can we evaluate shockwave efficacy? No standardized metric exists.
News to me. Could you provide some background information to help me get up to speed?
No problem. Here is an image of a normal kidney on the left and a kidney with stones on the right. One of the stones is blocking urine flow. It must be quite painful.
I would think so too. Where does the shockwaves fit in?
This figure shows a shockwave lithotripsy treatment. The left and middle panel show shockwaves directed at the lower stone. The right panel shows that the urine flow is restored after the lower stone has been fragmented. Understand now?
Great explanation. Now, tell me about the objectives of the study.
The objectives were 1. To determine whether an X-ray contains a stone. 2. To compare the initial stone image with images taken after shockwaves to quantify fragmentation. Let us look at images of stones and non-stones in X-ray images. Can you tell me which row contains stones?
Wow! I did not realize that urinary stones look so grainy in X-ray images. My guess is the top row images contain stones but the bottom row does not.
Correct. Yes, stone images appear grainy in C-arm images, because we are monitoring stones in real time and aim to minimize the patient's exposure to X-rays. Now, let's discuss how we can compare the initial stone images with those taken after shockwaves. To compare stone images, we used a template matching function, which is essentially a normalized and squared cross-correlation coefficient. We normalize the data to ensure that the results are not influenced by lighting conditions or variations in pixel intensity. The match function represents the percentage of variability explained by the data. Does that make sense?
I think I understand. So if the R-squared of the match is 1.0, that means there is no difference between the initial image and the image it is compared with. Right?
Smart guy. Yes, that is correct. But what if the R-squared of the match is 0.7?
That means that only 70% of the initial image is represented in the match.
Exactly. We use the template match as a proxy for fragmentation. So, if 70% of the match is explained, it means 30% of the initial stone has been fragmented. Does that make sense?
Yes, I got it. But let's see an example to really solidify this concept, okay?
Sure. Let's compare the initial stone image with an image taken after shockwaves. The left image shows the initial stone, while the right image shows the stone after shockwave application. The R-squared value of the initial stone against itself is 1.0. The R-squared value of the initial stone compared to the right image is 0.53, meaning 53% of the initial stone is explained. The percentage of stone loss is computed as 1 minus the fraction of the initial stone explained. In this example, the percentage of stone loss is 47%. Got it?
Right, so approximately 47% of the stone has been fragmented by shockwaves. I get it.
We used 11,648 X-ray images. These images were collected from shockwave treatments at multiple sites across the United States, using different shockwave instruments and operators. You can imagine it took a long time to sort through all the images. After analysis to remove ambiguity, the final dataset consisted of 2,804 stone images and 2,804 non-stone images.
Why did you collect images from multiple sites using different shockwave instruments and operators? Why not use images from one site, for example?
Great question. Using data from multiple sites, different instruments, and various operators makes the predictions more generalizable, meaning that the outputs are independent of site, instrument, or operator. In other words, the CNN model will be more robust because our data comes from multiple sources.
Ah! What a great plan! So now that you have a dataset, what's next?
We trained the CNN using PyTorch. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but if you read the paper, it's all there. Here is the output from PyTorch showing the relationship between accuracy and epochs during training. The 70% of the data used for training is shown in blue, and 15% of the data used for validation is shown in orange. You can see that the model's accuracy improved with each epoch and converged toward 95% accuracy after 60 epochs.
Question: if 70% of the data was used for training and 15% was used for validation, what about the remaining 15% not used?
Another great question. The remaining 15% of the data was used for testing the model and is completely independent of the training data. Note that the validation dataset was used to determine when to stop training. We use both the validation dataset and the test dataset to assess the model's performance. We used both the confusion matrix and the area under the curve AUC to assess the CNN model's performance. The confusion matrix evaluates the performance of a classification model by showing the breakdown of correct and incorrect predictions across all classes. Here is the confusion matrix using the validation dataset. 405 actual non-stone images were correctly predicted. 398 actual stone images were correctly predicted. The overall accuracy for the model and data was approximately 96%. Here is the confusion matrix using the test dataset. 373 actual non-stone images were correctly predicted. 419 actual stone images were correctly predicted. The overall accuracy was approximately 94%. The AUC, area under the curve, measures the ability of a classification model to distinguish between classes, with higher values indicating better performance. The area under the curve analysis yielded 99% accuracy for both the validation and test datasets. Taken together, the assessment results suggest that the model can accurately predict whether an image contains a stone. Next, we will use the CNN model for image analysis. Specifically, the CNN model will be used to help select the stone to be fragmented. The operator is required to select the stone. Here, the urinary stone can be seen within the crosshairs. The operator hovers the cursor over the stone, and the probability of a stone is displayed. The stone is enlarged in the left inset. The operator clicks on the cursor, and the stone image is boxed. The stone image is saved and is always displayed in the top right for future reference. The next step is to scan images using an automated template matching function I mentioned earlier. The automated scanning determines the R-squared value for each position in the region of interest, shown by the red square. The green box with the highest R-squared value and stone probability is retained.
Can we pause here for a moment? I want to clarify the scanning function. Is it correct that the template matching function calculates the R-squared value for each position within the red box? That must be very computationally intense, right?
Another great question. Yes, it is computationally intense, but the developers use a GPU-like function and only the images to perform the analysis. This speeds up the process to mere microseconds. Here is an example of the final product using an actual shockwave treatment. In this example, the stone is located in the upper calyx of the kidney and has a size of 9 mm by 9 mm. A control slide is produced at the beginning of each shockwave treatment. The screen shows the found stone, which is highlighted with a green box. The upper inset shows the initial boxed stone, while the lower inset shows the magnified, boxed stone. The notification system indicates green, which means go for shockwave lithotripsy. Stone loss is 0% because shockwave treatment has not been implemented yet. The stone probability of the green box is 1.0, meaning that the probability that a stone is in the box is 100%. After the first shockwave application, the initial stone loss is 37.2%. Note the subtle differences between the insets. The stone probability of the green box is 1.0, meaning that the probability of a stone being in the box is 100%. The notification system shows green, which means go for shockwave application. After the second SWL application, the initial stone loss is 42.9%. The stone probability of the green box is 1.0. Note the subtle differences in the insets. The notification system shows green, which means go for shockwave application.
Can we pause? I noticed that the stone image has shifted down relative to the crosshairs. Why does this occur?
2 reasons. First, the shockwaves actually impact the stone and can move it around. Second, the patient may move during shockwave treatment. Here is the screen from after the third shockwave application. The initial stone loss is 47.5%. The notification system still shows green, which means go for more shockwave applications. After the fourth shockwave application, the initial stone loss is now 51.9%. The notification system displays yellow, which means proceed with caution.
Oh, now I'm confused. What is the criterion used to generate the notification signal? You haven't discussed that yet.
Very perceptive. You are correct. I will discuss how the notification signal works later on. After the fifth SWL application, the initial stone loss is 54.5%. The notification system shows yellow, which means proceed with caution for shockwave application. After the sixth SWL application, the initial stone loss is 59.1%. The notification system shows red, which means shockwave application should stop soon. Now, let's look at the notification signal. What is the criterion for the notification signal? Here is a figure showing the relationship between total stone area and fragmented stone area. Each dot represents the stone area from one of the 4,087 images from 522 SWL treatments. The line of equality represents the stone area before any shockwave treatment. The red line shows the regression of the last stone area at the end of the treatment. The criterion for the notification signal is based on the regression line. Here is the equation. The last stone area equals 0.45 times the initial stone area plus 1.65. The R-squared value equals 0.84, meaning 84% of the variability is explained by the equation.
So, what you're saying is that it's possible to predict the area of the stone at the end of the shockwave treatments?
Yes. If you know the size of the initial stone, you can predict the stone's area at the end of the treatment. The initial stone size is well known before the treatment, based on the KUB X-ray taken beforehand. Shown here is the distribution around the regression line. For sample 4_16, the predicted final stone area is 14.5 mm superscript 2. The notification signals are based on the distribution and the 90% confidence intervals. The lower insets show the notification signals and the actual boxed stone images. The stone area decreases with more shockwave applications.
I understand now. The initial stone area for this sample was 28.3 mm squared, as shown in the lower left figure. After the stone was subjected to shockwaves, the area decreased to 14.3 mm squared, and the notification signal is yellow because it is close to the predicted value of 14.5 mm squared. Additional shockwaves reduced the stone area to 11.4 mm squared. At that point, the stone area is below the 90% confidence interval, which is 11.5 mm squared, so the signal is red, indicating that shockwaves should stop. Have I got this right?
You are correct. However, it is important to note that the area estimates are only proxies for stone fragmentation, they are not exact measurements. Now that we have a firm understanding of the notification system, let's test it. The results indicate that not all stones were completely fragmented. 34% yielded only green signals. 29% yielded green to yellow signals, indicating that the stones were fragmented to the predicted values. 11% yielded green and red signals, yellow was missing, indicating that not all images were captured during the treatments. 30% yielded green to red signals, indicating that the stones were fragmented beyond the predicted final stone area.
I am confused as to why some treatments were missing the yellow notification signal. Why were not all images captured?
Great question. This study was retrospective, meaning that the data were collected before the study objectives were defined. Moreover, the images were collected by the operator, not by an automated approach. This problem can be addressed in a prospective study. The study has revealed 3 new metrics to assess urinary stone status during shockwave lithotripsy. First, percent stone loss, which is used as a proxy for fragmentation. Second, stone probability, determined using a CNN model. And third, the notification system, which indicates when to stop shockwave treatment.
Thanks for presenting a very interesting study to me. What value does the study have in the broader context of treating urinary stones?
The value of this study in the broader context of treating urinary stones lies in its potential to improve treatment outcomes. By introducing new metrics like percent stone loss, stone probability, and the notification system, it offers a more precise, data-driven approach to shockwave lithotripsy. This can help optimize treatment by determining the right moment to stop shockwave applications, reducing the risk of overtreatment or incomplete fragmentation. Ultimately, it enhances patient care by making the treatment process more efficient and tailored to individual cases. There are many more future innovations that can come out of this research. Real-time monitoring of stone status during shockwave treatment is crucial for developing a semi-automated, computer-assisted shockwave system. By integrating stone status with key shockwave parameters, such as power level, shock rate, and shock counts, AI-driven systems could optimize shockwave applications in real time. A previous study predicting future shockwave parameters from past data, Chin et al. 2021, lacked this critical input, with stone status serving as the missing link to fully enable this advanced approach. The need for such innovation is underscored by the rising global incidence and prevalence of kidney stones, likely driven by dietary practices and climate change. In the United States alone, approximately 11% of the population will experience kidney stones during their lifetime. Developing a semi-automated and standardized shockwave approach will be essential for addressing this growing burden, particularly in challenging environments such as remote settings, e.g., arid deserts, and space exploration. Specifically, extended spaceflight results in a urinary environment saturated with stone-forming salts, increasing the risk of stone formation. In such scenarios, where access to highly trained urologists is limited, a technician and AI-guided system could autonomously perform shockwave lithotripsy, reducing treatment complications and costs. This approach would ensure effective urinary stone management under extreme conditions, safeguarding both health and mission success. We invite you to view our presentation on urinary stones in space missions, titled AI-Driven Solutions to Fragment Urinary Stones During Deep Space Missions and Beyond.